The Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Foundation is said to balance moisture and hydration. So for my dry, maturing skin, I'm excited to put this to the test. It's supposed to be a medium skincare foundation, and it is a serum foundation. So we're going to go ahead and give it a try today. Let's just get right into it. I have picked up the shade 6N. And I already showed what this looked like in my Sephora video. I will link to that. But I was surprised this is also offered with refillable cartridges. But the refill is the center squeezy tube here. This is like a plastic squeezy tube. And the refill part just unscrews, and this is completely hollow. So definitely if you are getting a refill, I would go that route, but I kind of don't understand the purpose of this packaging. However, I do love Danessa Myricks products, and Danessa Myricks is a makeup artist that comes out with really great products for the everyday person to use too. So we're gonna do the left side of my face with the brush and the right side of my face with a damp sponge and see if this foundation works for dry skin. So you just unscrew the top and it comes out. It says to squeeze a pea-size amount onto your hand. So let's squeeze that out. So you can see the consistency of it. It's fairly thin running down my hand, but not too thin. So it's a serum foundation, which that makes sense for the consistency. I'm gonna start off on the left side of my face with the BK 101 brush, and I'm gonna pick it up off of my hand and just go right into the face. I do have just my normal skincare moisturizer on, and then I do also have today the e.l.f. Whoa Glow sunscreen primer on, which I do wear really often. So I want to see if it will apply over the top of that, because I like it to be able to work over my regular products. It does have a scent to it. Does it say? I don't think it said it was fragrance free or anything. Let's see if it has fragrance. It has parfum in it, so it is fragrance. It's towards the bottom of the list, but it's definitely there. It's unlike any scent I have ever tried of a foundation before. I don't really like it. It's not bad and it's not very strong, but I just don't really like this scent. And I did forget to mention, I do have my eyebrows. I have the About Face or brow artist. Is that what it's called? Something like that. I'll put it in the description box. I do have the About Face brow arch artist that I have a video on that too that I've recently tried. That's what I have on my brows, as well as the NYX Lift and Snatch and the Essence All About Brow Gel, Fiber Gel over the top. Because I usually don't do my brows first, but since I was coming on camera without any makeup on and they take forever, I decided to just do them first to skip it. And if you have seen my other videos, you know I do have sparse brows, so they definitely need some help. Wow, okay, so that was just a really quick, easy application. And I do think that the color match is really right on. I'm gonna look in the mirror here. But so far, ooh, this is nice. So this is the left side of the face with the brush. And there are a few areas where it's clinging a little bit to dry patches, but overall it does actually give a really nice, natural skin-like look. And it has a nice luminosity. Again, that e.l.f. Whoa Glow primer does have a luminosity to it, so that could be coming from that. but it doesn't feel tacky. It does have some transfer if I touch it right off the bat like that, but it doesn't feel, my face doesn't feel too wet and tacky, though it definitely hasn't dried all the way down. But so far on first application, I really do like how it went on, and it was really fast and easy. So I'm going to zoom back out and we'll do the other side of the face with the sponge. All right, I have my damp sponge here. We're going to go in. And a sponge always gives sheer coverage, but that can also give it a more natural look as well. So it depends on what look you're going for. I personally prefer a brush because I think it's faster and easier, and I just like the look of a brush better, and I like the tool of the brush better personally. I like how you can wash them better, and I like how long they last better. So I personally prefer a brush. So I prefer when a foundation works with a brush better, but I'm showing you the sponge because other people have different preferences, and also it does provide a different application. So let's see what we get. All right, so you can definitely see that it's not quite as full coverage or as even medium coverage with the sponge side, but I do actually really like how it applied with the sponge. It looks even more skin-like and natural, and still went on fast and blended really well. So while usually I do prefer the brush, on this one I'm quite liking the look of the sponge. Sponge side, brush side. It just looks really nice and natural with this sponge. So color me surprised. So this is just immediate first impressions, and I will continue to put it to the test, but wow, I'm pretty impressed with this foundation, and I haven't been this impressed with a foundation in a long time. So far so good. I'm going to go ahead and apply my typical usual products over the top to see how it performs. So first I'm gonna start off with the Persona Multi-Stick in the shade Dune. So I'm going to use this to add some bronzing and contour. And I'll just be blending this in with a Real Techniques 406 sculpting brush. If you watch any of my panning videos, you'll know that this product's in my Out the Door in 2024 panning project, which means that I am trying to use this up or declutter it by the end of the year. And I absolutely have been using this like all the time for everyday makeup, and for even like kind of my more higher glam days where I want to be a little more fancy. I use that too. And I just think this is like one of the most amazing, easy to blend out products that still has enough pigment that actually looks like it's doing something, and it's a very nice natural kind of flush and glow, nice bronze. It looks like such a real true skin color. So I just am in love with this one. And all of the products I'll be using here today, as always, are cruelty-free and vegan. A lot of the products I'm using are going to be in that Project Out the Door 2024 video, because these are my tried and true products that I use every day. And that way I really know if the foundation is performing well, because I'm so used to trying these products with all of the different foundations that I use and try. So you can see how fast and easy that was to just put on, blend out, pretty mistake proof. Now I'm gonna go with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. This is the elephant one from a couple of years ago. Again, also in my panning project. I'm going to go in with the bronzer shade and just put a little bit over the bronzer. And I'm gonna do that also with the Real Techniques sculpting brush. Just adding a little bit to kind of set it, put it in place. So now I've tried both cream and powder over the top of the foundation. Let's see how it looks. I actually still really like how the left side with the brush looks, but wow, the right side with the sponge, it just looks like real skin, but better. And oh man, I'm really liking it so far. I'm going to be using this Radiant Rose shade here in the Hourglass palette for my blush. And for this, I am using the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy collab brush. This is the A507 blush brush. These are awesome brushes as well. And these are my kind of everyday brushes as well. So we're getting a really good test of this foundation. I still will say I smell it a little bit, the foundation. I smell the scent a little bit and I really don't care for it, but I can get over it, especially for how good it looks. And it is also, I wanted to point out, it's 0.85 fluid ounces for this one. Typically you get about 1 ounce in your foundation. So do take note of that if you are purchasing it. It is a little bit smaller. But it didn't take very much. You saw how much I put on, but I got great coverage with that amount of product too. So I don't feel like you would go through it too fast. And because of the packaging would be like great for travel and throwing in your makeup bag because you don't have to worry about it breaking. But it's also really secure so that you don't have to worry about it squeezing out because the top screws on. It doesn't just pop on and off. I could put a tiny bit of concealer on. I'll use my Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Ultra Concealer in the shade 22N Light Neutral. I'll just put a tiny bit on. I don't really need it today, but let's see how it works with the foundation. Just like I said, oh, that was even more than I wanted. Just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to blend it out with the sponge. Oftentimes I use a brush as well, usually the Angie Hot and Flashy concealer brush that is drying in my bathroom because I just cleaned it. So I'm going to go with the sponge today. Whatever you prefer. I keep trying out new concealers, but I do keep going back to this one because I just really like how it works. I think it is great even on dry skin. So I will use my Beauty Bakery flour powder that is also in my panning project that I'm kind of trying to use up because there's not very much left in here, and I'm just going to powder down with that. I've got a little powder puff I'll be using for that. I'm not going to powder down my whole face, but I am going to add powder just to maybe a little around the T-zone and just a tiny bit, but I'm going to leave my cheeks and not powder those, especially with dry skin and the products I have on. I don't really need it. So I'm just going to test out a little bit of powder and see how it sets the foundation and how the foundation performs with powder. Depending on the day, I may or may not even use powder, and depending on the foundation, especially if it's like a matte foundation, I may not even use powder because of my dry skin, but powder does help to set it in and keep it from transferring. So it's nice to just see how it performs, especially if you want to wear powder over the top, right? Let's test it out and see how it works. Another place I make sure is to go around the nostrils because that's where foundation tends to collect on most people. All right, so we've got concealer, bronzer, cream, powder, blush, more powder. So here's how it looks this far with all of my regular products, and I'm really liking how it layered. It's looking really nice and natural and beautiful to me. So I see that the powder did tend to layer really nicely on it. Again, I'll continue to wear it and see how it goes throughout the day. But so far, I'm really liking this, and it played well with others. So another plus for that. I am gonna go ahead and add some eyeshadow, and I thought since we're trying the Danessa Myricks foundation, I would pull out my Danessa Myricks eyeshadow palette. This is the Lightwork Volume 4, and these are the like pigments and illuminating face palette. It's just one of the most beautiful palettes I own. And these shadows are great for like a one and done eyeshadow application because they have so much shiftiness and change that it looks like you have a lot of colors on. So it's so hard to choose. I'm gonna go in with the shade Nirvana, and I'm just going to do it with my finger and apply it with my finger. And now that I've used my finger to apply it, I'm just going to take a Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush and just actually blend the crease out a little bit so it's not too harsh. And this is the empty brush, there's no product on here. So we've got kind of a gold, maybe bronze to green shift going on. Let me swatch it for you. The funny thing that I always forget about when I do use these on camera is that sometimes it looks completely different the way the camera picks it up versus what I see. So depending on the way the light is, it's copper and then it shifts into green, but I'm having trouble getting the camera to pick it up. So let's go on the other eye. And then I'll just blend this one into the crease a little bit too, so it's not quite so harsh. Even my lighting in this room is a little bit uneven, so the eye to eye looks a little bit different, but I'll try to show you. I think that was my first time using that color, and I still really like it, but it isn't as much of a favorite as some of the other ones are. So I do like it. I think the main copper shade is really pretty, but I don't as much like the green that it kind of shifts into. So I'm just gonna wipe off my swatch here with my makeup eraser, get that all cleaned up. I'm just gonna add a little bit of eyeliner, and I'll be using the Pacifica, I'm not sure what this one's called, but it's like I think it's their waterproof eyeliner, and this is in the shade Jet. I also just wanted to mention that I was sharpening my pencil, and I'm using my Essence sharpener, which is just this little tiny inexpensive double-sided. It has the bigger side here and the smaller side here. Well, that was the reverse, but you get the idea. So I was using my Essence sharpener, and I just wanted to comment on how fast and easy it was to sharpen my pencils. And this is not the first time I've used it. This is actually the second one I have picked up because I threw one in my makeup kit, and then I bought a second one for myself because it sharpens them so fast and precisely, and it gives that really small tip at the top too. So it doesn't cut off too much of the product. It just sharpens really nice and fine, so you don't lose a lot of product. And I only have to do it a couple of times. I feel like my other ones, you know, maybe they were just older or something, but I feel like they were constantly eating product, and I'd have to really like sharpen them multiple times to get it even. This one is so inexpensive and does such a good job, and it has the lid for capturing the shavings. So I just wanted to put that out there, that if you are looking for a new pencil sharpener, check out the one from Essence. I realized I didn't bring another mascara in, and I still have my Clean Lash mascara from Merit sitting on the table from my Merit video, which I will link. I did a full face of Merit to review, and I am just going to go ahead and use that mascara because that is what I have sitting here. I have tried this Merit Clean Lash Mascara more times since that Merit video, which was a first impressions, but I still continue to have the same thoughts of it. I think it's an okay mascara. If you like lengthening and separating, it is great at that. For me, I feel like it makes my lashes look a little too fine, and I'm looking for something that's a little bit more thickening, but overall it is a nice mascara. It just wouldn't be my first choice. I also had a whole bin of items that I have purchased and have been waiting to try on my channel, so I thought I'd pull out the Essence Soft and Precise Lip Pencil in the shade My Choice. Because I was talking about the Essence Sharpener, I thought let's feature something else. Let's give this one a try. This is a wooden pencil. The shade is a lot more nude, even lighter light beige than I realized, so we're going to experiment and see how it looks today. It's definitely a firmer pencil. When it's brand new and super sharp like this, it feels a little pokey even, but it is, as it's touching my lips, it is warming up and getting a little creamier. So if you feel like if it's a little too sharp for you, besides rubbing it down on your hand some, you can also kind of hold it to your lip until it starts to warm and then drag it. This shade is pretty light, but I don't dislike it. It's a good way to just really outline your lips. If you have a similar lip color to mine or even lighter, so that when you put any shade of lipstick on, because it's this nude color, for me, when I put on any shade of lipstick, it'll help keep it kind of inside the lines. Now, the lipstick that I brought in today is the BK Beauty in Acceptance. And again, this was in my project pan for out the door in 2024. So since I was kind of doing that theme with a lot of the other products, I brought this one in here today. But the reason it is in my panning project is because I kind of have to encourage myself to use this specific color. I love the formulation, but this specific color is a little light for me, so I always need to pair it with a darker lip liner. So this may or may not work out color-wise today, but let's give it a try. It is a great formula, and I do have it in some other shades. It's a little bit too light for me for my preference. I just feel like it doesn't give me enough color, enough, not even definition, but it blanks out my lips a little tiny bit to the point where I feel like it's really on the cusp of what you might call like not very lively looking lips, we'll say that. So I feel like the color needs just a little bit more boost from me. But that being said, this lipstick with a darker lip liner is awesome. And then so far, this Essence lip liner I do like, and I think that would work with some other lip colors or most other lip colors, as long as they are already the right color and I'm not trying to change them. All right, let's go back to the question at hand. How is this foundation performing? First impressions after the full face of makeup for the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Foundation is this might be my new favorite foundation. Dare I say that? It might be my new favorite foundation. Wow. I still really like it with the brush, but for like a more natural everyday look, it looks great with the sponge. I think you can really actually get away with both. I don't think, as it's setting in, I don't think the dry patches are continuing to be emphasized. I think it's looking even kind of more skin-like. So I'm going to have to keep wearing it and see how it goes throughout the day. But so far, wow, I am pretty blown away. All right, I'll come back and check in later. All right, I am just out for a walk, so I thought it'd be a good time to check in on the foundation. the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Foundation because you can see it here in natural light. So this left side of the face is the brush side, and the right side here is the sponge side. And so far, again, I'm really impressed. I think it looks really good even in the daylight. And I think I was trying to decide if I was really going to say this is my #1 favorite foundation, and I would have to put it head to head with my Face Atelier Ultra Foundation, because that's the one I reach for when I just need to have a good makeup day, when I need to know it's going to work out. I always reach for that one and it doesn't let me down. So this one I could see definitely wearing more as an everyday foundation, and that one always works for photography, videography, things like that. So I think I'd have to put them head to head, but this is definitely going to be one that I'm reaching for on the daily. Back to check in. It has been about 5 hours now since I first applied the foundation. I did a walk, as you saw. I worked up a little bit of a sweat, not too much, but I've carried on throughout my day, just kind of normal, usual routine. And I'm just about to go edit some more videos and thought I'd do a quick check-in. And I looked in the mirror up close and wow, I really like how this foundation is looking. I'm impressed. I feel like it's wearing even better throughout the day, which is very rare. There are few foundations that I can say that about. So far, this foundation is just blowing it out of the water for me. This again is the brush side, this again is the sponge side, and I think they equally look good. I just think the sponge has a little bit more a little less coverage than the brush. The brush has a little more coverage, but it is just doing great on my skin, and I think, you know, it's supposed to be balancing the moisture and hydration and have these skincare ingredients, and I actually think it's living up to its claims. So this is pretty impressive. We are officially over the 10-hour mark for the foundation wear test, and I think it is safe to say that this is probably my new favorite foundation. So again, this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Foundation in the shade 6N, and it is a little bit more luminous now at the end of the day. And remember, I am wearing the e.l.f. Whoa Glow primer, which that probably does play a bit of a role. I know that does kind of sometimes lead to a little bit extra glowiness, which I can handle because I do have dry skin, and it works well to use that as a primer for my SPF as well. So I don't mind that. I will go ahead and try it out in the future without that, or with a different sunscreen primer that isn't as luminous, but it still just looks really nice and natural. It doesn't look like oily and shiny. It just looks more luminous. So it's really not breaking down anywhere on the face. It's not collecting into any lines and wrinkles. And I think it's just looking really great. So I'm so pleased with this foundation, and I think we have found a winner. Let me know in the comments below if you have tried this foundation and what your thoughts are. If you think that this is a potential holy grail foundation, and if you haven't tried it, let me know what your favorite foundation is so I can make sure to research and check that out too. Thank you so much for being here. Do consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I will be back next week with a new video, but until then, take care of yourself.